There couldn't have been a better comeback for Kitchen Nightmares Season 8 than to start with one of New York's most iconic restaurants, the Bel Aire Diner. But what happened after Chef Ramsay left was shocking. It turns out the owner in the beginning was pretty chill with how things unfolded on Kitchen Nightmares. However, later, there were a couple of things that gave him pause about how the restaurant was portrayed on TV. And just a few weeks before the episode aired, Bel Aire Diner posted an Instagram video of the owner watching the promo.
With me right now, having Gordon Ramsay here, I'm terrified.
Turn around and do it.
I'm the one with the knife.
They're just blaming each other.
What is that?
The smell.
Oh my God. This place is a death trap. Shut it down.
I can't let the business fail.
I put everything I have in here.
It's a disaster. If it doesn't change, it's gonna kill us.
I came here.
The scenes on there, I recognize from the diner. They don't make me happy. We've come a long way since then. We've got changes coming up. Some stuff I can't talk to. We're contractually obligated to, hush hush. But keep an eye on our Instagram, and you'll see what we've done.
It's like a little sneak peek behind the curtain of the TV world we all know and love. We don't really know if the owners were throwing a tantrum or not, because it's very strange to post a longer video just a day before the episode aired.
So, show's coming out Monday. We haven't seen any of the video edits, any of the cuts. We have no idea what to expect. Obviously, we've seen the same previews that everyone else has.
I'm excited to see what they turned, whatever filming or whatever videos that they had, and they turned it into whatever story they did. And I was present when, Ramsay, tore up the kitchen and whatever. So I'm anxious on that part. I'm excited also because I know how it ended.
The whole experience did bring us closer together, did make us better business owners. Even if we may not have felt like we were a nightmare to start, like we are definitely a better business after the whole situation, for sure.
It seemed fishy, as if he was trying to make some things right before viewers saw the actual conditions of his restaurant. But it makes total sense if Cal did that just to keep an eye on how his restaurant is being portrayed on national TV. After all, it's a big deal. So this is what exactly happened in Bel Aire, a diner that's well known and conveniently located just off Queens in New York.
Queens, New York. Bel Aire is a family-owned diner run by two brothers at war.
Now, this isn't just your average diner. Bel Aire is a beloved institution in the Astoria area, one that's earned a solid reputation over the years. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if you've been there or at least heard of it before. The diner has a rich history that stretches all the way back to 1965. Over the decades, it's grown into more than just a place to grab a meal. It's become a local landmark, a spot where memories have been made and traditions have been carried on. But it's not only the locals who hold this place in high regard. Bel Aire has also caught the attention of celebrities over the years. Did you know it was even featured on Jerry Seinfeld's show Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee? Yep, in the episode where Jerry and Howard Stern sat down for a chat, they were at Bel Aire. Pretty cool, right?
I'll tell you my greatest regret. I didn't know the importance of that morning TM in those days. Wow. If I had 2 TMs, I'd still be doing the show now.
Despite its long-standing success and reputation, Bel Aire hit a serious rough patch during the pandemic. After decades of thriving, the challenges of the time took a toll, and the diner began to struggle.
I really enjoy it.
You didn't like it? You want me to change it for you? Too rare? Come on!
Originally, Bel Aire was owned and run by Archie, but these days, the responsibility has been passed on to his 2 sons, Cal and Peter. Unfortunately, instead of working as a team to navigate the business through its difficulties, the brothers found themselves at odds with each other more often than not.
A lot of people waiting. What's going on?
I can't do my job if you're not supervising the waiters.
You're in the kitchen. I'm not in the kitchen.
Cal, the older of the two, was in charge of the kitchen and oversaw a team of 20 cooks. He seemed to have his role locked in, but the same couldn't be said for Peter, who was tasked with managing the front of the diner. According to Cal, Peter's inability to fulfill his responsibilities effectively was one of the biggest issues holding the diner back.
Like a house. My brother and I are supposed to be doing the same amount of work. My brother doesn't want to work.
The situation became so dire that Archie and his wife, despite having retired, had to step back in to help address the problems. And to make matters worse, many of these issues never existed back when Archie was running the show. With the restaurant clearly struggling to survive, it seemed like things were reaching a breaking point.
Cal's ego is overwhelming at times. When me and my brother don't get along, it is very difficult for the diner to...
Luckily for them, Chef Ramsay was about to return with an all-new season of Kitchen Nightmares, ready to step in and help turn things around.
This situation is dreadful. Can you talk about it? Listen, I'm here to help.
And before you know it, Chef Ramsay swooped down and not only gave the restaurant a much-needed facelift, but also uplifted the spirits of the entire family.
And their owners back on track.
Holy
Chef Ramsay made quite an entrance, flying into the city by helicopter before heading over to Bel Aire. Right away, he was greeted by something unexpected.
Are they real?
Yes.
Wow. Lobster in a diner. I am hungry.
A tank of live lobsters sitting by the diner's entrance. Once inside, Chef Ramsay sat down to order, starting with a simple coffee.
That's terrible.
It's diner coffee. It's supposed to be strong.
Cappuccino?
Oh, no.
But the coffee turned out to be so bad that he refused the waitress's offer of a cappuccino. Things didn't get any better when he looked at the menu. Describing it as an encyclopedia, he started counting the items and gave up halfway. There were over 270 dishes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100. Holy.
Still, he placed an order. Fried tortellini, coq au vin, a lamb gyro, and a lobster BLT. To top it off, he went over to the lobster tank and personally picked out the lobster he wanted for his meal, which the waitress dutifully took to the kitchen.
There we are. Thanks, darling.
The food, however, was a disaster from start to finish. The coq au vin arrived first, and Chef Ramsay couldn't believe it.
Oh my lord. This chicken wasn't cooked in the last 24 hours. This thing is like a dinosaur coq au vin.
It didn't even look like the chicken had been cooked in the last 24 hours. He also questioned why a fine dining dish like coq au vin was even on a diner menu in the first place.
Oh my god. That is a slurry of... Why would anyone attempt to do something so fine dining in a diner?
Next came the lamb gyro, which didn't look fresh at all. One bite was enough for Chef Ramsay. He spit it out and quipped that it was as Greek as Donald Trump. Then there was the fried tortellini. It was supposed to be homemade, but it didn't look or taste the part.
Wow, they taste of absolutely all. Fillings escaped.
Even the sauce was flavorless. When Chef Ramsay asked the waitress Cherry if the tortellini was actually made in-house, she admitted she didn't think so either. She passed his feedback onto the kitchen.
Cal, he said there's no filling in the fried tortellini.
Man?
And the coq au vin, he just said he'll pay for your flight back to France.
Finally, the lobster BLT arrived, but it was mostly lettuce with just 3 sad, raw-looking bits of lobster. Chef Ramsay took a bite of the huge wedge of lettuce and declared it the best thing on the plate.
This sandwich. That's fine if you're a rabbit, but it's a tasty thing on the menu.
A brutal critique if there ever was one. As if things couldn't get worse, the French fries came out last. They were riddled with large, dirty black bits, making them completely unappetizing. At this point, Chef Ramsay asked to speak with Cal to address the shocking state of the food. During their conversation, Chef Ramsay noticed Cal's parents were at the restaurant, so he asked where Peter was. That's when things took an even more dramatic turn.
He's at his fiance's place, another restaurant.
So he's paid by here, but he's working his girlfriend's restaurant.
Yes.
How up does that sound?
Cal revealed that Peter was at his fiance's restaurant even though he was being paid to work at the diner. The brothers had a strained relationship, they hadn't spoken for 6 months, and had only recently started talking again. Cal then admitted something even more troubling. Their parents insisted on giving Peter a $50,000 annual allowance from the diner despite his lack of commitment. Cal broke down as he explained that he was under immense pressure.
I'm married now. I have a beautiful little girl. Oh my God, I can't.
He had his own family and a baby at home, but was forced to sleep at the diner just to keep things afloat. It was clear to Chef Ramsay that the issues at Bel Aire ran deeper than just the food. Chef Ramsay, determined to get to the root of the problem, tells Cal to call his brother Peter so they can finally have a proper conversation. When Peter arrives, things get tense right away. Chef Ramsay immediately questions the Rolex watch Peter is wearing, which puts Peter on the defensive. The questions keep coming, with Chef Ramsay asking why Peter isn't present at the diner more often.
I don't feel like I'm respected as a brother.
Are you unappreciated here?
I feel I am, yes.
Yeah, you've got interest elsewhere now with your fiancée, working hard for her business.
Peter admits he doesn't feel appreciated, but eventually, the weight of the situation gets to him, and he breaks down.
It's...
Do you feel guilty?
Yeah.
But I think deep down inside you want to fix this place, don't you?
He confesses that he feels guilty about their parents still being heavily involved in running the diner. Chef Ramsay, looking to make progress, tells the brothers that he wants both of them running the diner that evening to get a sense of how they operate together. Later that day, the service begins, and the restaurant is busy.
Almost full?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm feeling anxious, apprehensive, all these emotions at the same time.
But it doesn't take long for Chef Ramsay to spot problems. At one point, he notices food sitting on the pass that doesn't look right.
What is that?
Medium rare.
Medium rare. Oh. Is this what you opened 25 years ago? This?
No.
No.
He asks Archie if this is the kind of quality they used to serve 25 years ago. Archie, disappointed, says it's not. Chef Ramsay even sits with a customer to hear their experience firsthand.
What did you order?
Grilled cheese, you can't tell.
It's not even melted. Give me 2 seconds.
The customer had ordered a grilled cheese, but when it arrived, the cheese wasn't even melted. Chef Ramsay takes the sandwich back to the kitchen to have it fixed, pointing out how far the standards have fallen.
The cheese is not even melted.
All right, I'll fix that right away.
But listen, you're the last line of defense. All hope lands on you.
Meanwhile, tensions start boiling over. Peter gets frustrated at the amount of food being sent back to Cal due to avoidable mistakes.
I try and keep my cool, but kitchen's having a little trouble. You know, customers are complaining. I blame my brother, ultimately, because it's going out.
And Cal grows equally frustrated as more and more issues pile up at the pass. Chef Ramsay pulls Cal aside to deliver a hard truth. If the standards don't improve, Cal will have to step aside.
We need to get a grip. Don't just stand there and throw that out. Please get some form of standard. Show me you've got something to hold on to. Otherwise, I'm out of here.
But the deeper problems were still to come. Chef Ramsay, curious about how the diner manages to maintain such a massive menu, heads down to the basement storage area, and what he finds is nothing short of horrifying.
Oh my God. It's like a scene out of Saw. Is this for real?
He describes the basement as something straight out of a horror movie like Saw. Opening one fridge, he sees that nothing is properly covered or dated. The smell is overwhelming, and much of the food is unidentifiable.
Oh my God. Oh, the smell. Nothing labeled. Everything is uncovered. No dates. Oh my God.
Things only get worse. Pastrami and chicken are being stored together, and there's a box of wet, rancid chicken that smells so bad it makes Chef Ramsay retch into a bin. Furious, Chef Ramsay calls for Cal and Peter and demands an explanation. Cal insists that he went through the basement just a few days ago, but the state of it tells a very different story. At this point, Chef Ramsay has seen enough. He orders the diner to shut down and tells them to send the customers home.
Tell the guests I'm taking care of their bill tonight. Get rid of them now. There is no more food going out of here. Nothing. Turn it off. All off. All off. Shut it down.
As tensions rise, Patty steps in to defend Cal, but Cal doesn't deflect. He takes responsibility for the issues, acknowledging how far things have fallen. Chef Ramsay's inspection of the kitchen revealed yet another serious problem. Grease buildup in the hoods, a major fire hazard that could put the entire restaurant in danger.
The spark in the wrong area in the hood. This place is seconds away from going up in flames. This place is a death trap.
But the real shock came when he brought the owners back downstairs to the basement to confront them with the mess he had uncovered. Disgusted by the state of the storage area, Chef Ramsay told them they should hang their heads in shame for letting things get this bad.
What I didn't expect was this disgusting hellhole. You should be ashamed.
Cal quickly rallied the team, instructing them to clean up the basement immediately. Everyone got to work, throwing out the expired and spoiled food. But it was clear this was only the first step in a much larger process. Once the cleanup began, Chef Ramsay sat down with the owners to have a more serious conversation. He made it clear that they needed to take accountability for the state of the diner. Personal issues between Cal and Peter were spilling into their professional relationship, and it was crippling the business. To their credit, the brothers acknowledged the damage their conflicts had caused and made a commitment to set their differences aside for the sake of the diner and their family. Despite the disastrous state of the restaurant, which had him on the verge of walking away, Chef Ramsay decided to stay and take on the challenge. But instead of diving straight into changes, he opted for a hands-on approach to help the brothers understand what running a successful restaurant truly looks like. Chef Ramsay invited Cal and Peter to his own restaurant, Chef Ramsay Fish and Chips, and what they saw was eye-opening.
Take a walk in. What'd you notice?
It smells delicious. Obviously, everything's in rows,
Labeled
it's
in the
labeled,
same
it's
place.
covered. I've never experienced anything like that. Like, it's almost like walking into a bakery and getting hit with that fresh bread smell.
The operation was a complete contrast to their own diner, clean, efficient, and focused. While they were there, Chef Ramsay didn't just let them observe. He personally showed the brothers how to prepare the perfect plate of fish and chips.
I'm gonna fry the fish. Beautiful cod. In it goes. Come on, Cal, use those muscles, will you, please? Let's go, there you go.
For Cal and Peter, it wasn't just about the cooking technique, it was about seeing firsthand the level of care and precision required in every dish. And here's the best part, Chef Ramsay shared his very own fish and chips recipe with them.
We're giving you our recipes.
Getting a recipe like this is gonna be life-changing.
Dig in, dig in.
It was a valuable gift, a tangible reminder of the standards they needed to bring back to Bel Aire. However, perhaps the most important takeaway from the experience wasn't about food at all. It was the lesson Chef Ramsay stressed above all else, the need for unity.
The most important ingredient missing on your menu is you two uniting. If you two unite and stick together, I promise you now, it's gonna work.
He made it clear that a restaurant's success hinges on a cohesive team, and the brothers had to set aside their differences and work together harmoniously if they wanted to turn the diner around. It was a turning point for Cal and Peter as they finally started to see what was truly at stake, and what they needed to do to save their family's legacy. When Chef Ramsay got back to Queens, he had a wonderful surprise lined up for the entire family.
Oh my God. To celebrate the next generation taking over, a retro look, making the diner shine.
Oh, beautiful.
Here's the deal. His team had pulled an all-nighter to give the family's old diner a much-needed facelift. The dining room now had this gorgeous retro vibe, and the bar completely revamped into something seriously impressive. And honestly, it was worth every bit of effort. When Ramsay turned around, all he could see were huge smiles on their faces. It was priceless.
Welcome, guys. Welcome to the Bel Aire Diner.
But he wasn't done yet. Ramsay revealed some exciting upgrades, including an $18,000 state-of-the-art Senseo espresso machine, a filter coffee drip machine, blenders, and even smoothie makers. The goal? To make the place more fun and Instagram-worthy, drawing in a younger, social media-savvy crowd. And then came the game changer. Ready for this? Ramsay slashed their menu from a massive 420 items down to just 20. That's right, he went with a less is more approach, focusing on quality over quantity. Clean, simple, and way more efficient. The new menu was all about classic comfort foods done right: burgers, sandwiches, buttermilk onion rings, French toast, eggs Benedict, fish and chips, and the ever-popular shrimp and grits. Finally, it was time for the family to dig in and try the revamped menu. And let me tell you, it was a total hit. The food tasted incredible, and their reactions said it all. Success!
This is delicious.
I'm so happy, I love it.
Let's jump ahead to the big relaunch, and wow, the Bel Aire Diner was buzzing. The crowd was a perfect mix. Locals, social media influencers, and of course, Cal's family were all there to see the transformation.
Hi, how are you guys? How many are we? Six.
of us.
Time to put this diner back on the map. Okay, we good? First service with the reno and new menu.
Chef Ramsay took the reins in the kitchen, mentoring Cal on how to handle the back-of-house operations.
A smaller menu that should be quicker, but it's not a race, right? Don't rush it, yes?
Yes.
Hey, standards. Cal, last line of defense. You're not happy, you send it back.
And helping Peter get a grip on managing the front of the house. And surprisingly, Peter, who had pretty much abandoned his duties before, was actually doing really well. At first, things were running smoothly. The first few plates made it out of the kitchen without a hitch, and Cal seemed to have everything under control.
As the first few plates go out,
How many lambs you got working for me?
I'm glad to see Cal has everything under control.
Please do not overstuff yourself.
But let's be real, when has a service ever gone off without a single hiccup? Never. It's just part of the restaurant game. The real test is how you bounce back, and this time, the brothers were giving it their all.
Guys, how long ago did you order?
10 minutes, maybe?
10 minutes, thank you. Stop! Slow down!
It started to go downhill pretty quickly.
You need to communicate. I'm dying here.
When chaos started to creep in, Cal stepped up like a pro. He got the kitchen back on track, and soon enough, dishes were heading out of the past like clockwork.
We got two. We got chicken waffles.
And he's managing a steady flow of dishes to the diners.
Meanwhile, Peter was absolutely thriving in the front of the house. Honestly, even Chef Ramsay was impressed with how he handled things.
Hi guys, how's everything?
This is amazing.
This is amazing. At last, Peter is stepping up, front of house.
I do think we're on the road to success. Hopefully business gets better.
And the customers? They couldn't get enough. The food was a hit, and you could tell they'd be coming back for more.
Food was better than it was last time I was here. So. Yeah, we'll be back for sure.
100% a success. We really enjoyed what we had today.
That's when Ramsey gave some game-changing advice to Archie and Patty. It was time to pass the torch, hand over the reins to the next generation, and let the brothers take the lead. After the service wrapped up, the brothers had an emotional moment in the kitchen, a real heart-to-heart.
So, how was it today?
Excited, but the toughest service of my life. How about a hug? I really, legit just need a hug, bro. For real.
It was overwhelming to watch, and in the end, they shared a heartfelt hug that felt like the start of a brand new chapter for the Bel Aire diner. The relaunch was a success, plain and simple. Watching a family pull together, face their challenges, and come out stronger is the kind of feel-good moment that never gets old. But here's where it gets interesting. Since Ramsey's visit, the Bel Aire diner has seen a mix of reviews. Ever since that episode aired, the Bel Aire diner has become the talk of the town, with people flocking over just to see what all the buzz is about. And honestly, it's easy to see why the transformation is real. First off, the diner is so much cleaner and more organized now. It used to have this worn down feel, but now it's way more put together.
And a sparkling clean.
And let's be real, a clean, well-maintained space makes a huge difference when it comes to dining out. It's one of those simple things that instantly elevates the whole experience. It's honestly pretty inspiring to watch the restaurant turn things around. If you saw the episode, you'd know that the owners were in a really tough spot. They were on the brink of losing it all. But now, it's like they've turned a corner, almost like a phoenix rising from the ashes. If you happen to be in the area, it's definitely worth checking out. I mean, I'm definitely on board. It's not just about enjoying a good meal, it's about supporting a local business that's clearly worked hard to get back on its feet. You could be the one to report back to us on how they're doing. You know they're probably doing great. And it's not just the food that's improved, the owners themselves seem so much happier now.
Penelope, say hi. This place, it's been in my family for 25 years.
You can see it in their faces and how they carry themselves. It's like a weight has been lifted off their shoulders.
And Archie and Patty have finally taken a step back.
We all know running a restaurant can be stressful, especially when things aren't going well. But now, they're finally reaping the rewards of all their hard work and commitment. Of course, it's also about the people behind the scenes. When you can tell that a team is genuinely passionate about what they do, it makes the dining experience that much more enjoyable.
It's been in my family for 25 years. I hope the succession story doesn't end with me. Everybody, honestly, thank you.
You can see how much they care about their customers and the quality of their work. The story of the diner's comeback is one of those feel-good tales that really shows the power of determination and the importance of supporting local businesses. The food looks great, the place is fresh and inviting, and the owners seem happier than ever. What more could you want from a restaurant? As a customer, I was definitely happy with the whole experience. Now, let's talk about those reviews. The Yelp rating is sitting at a solid 3 stars with over 600 reviews, which, considering the ups and downs they've gone through, is pretty decent. It's kind of like that dish you wouldn't pick every time, but it still satisfies when you're in the mood for it. But the real eye-opener comes when you look at their Google reviews. They've got a 4.2 star rating with over 3,000 reviews. That's like stumbling upon a hidden gem that everyone's been quietly recommending. Looks like a lot of Google reviewers are really enjoying what Bel Aire Diner has to offer now. Let's dive into those reviews, because you know how it goes, there's always a mix. You've got the glowing ones, the not so great ones, and the ones that fall somewhere in between. But when it comes to Bel Aire, most reviews are leaning positive, with many pointing out the improvements they've seen at the diner. So what's the bottom line? Well, the ratings might not be sky high, but they definitely don't paint a dire picture. If you're a fan of kitchen nightmares, or just someone who appreciates a decent meal, Bel Aire's story is definitely worth checking out. It's not just about the food, it's about seeing a family-run business bounce back. One Yelp review highlighted that the food is tasty, but they did mention that it's a bit on the pricier side for the area. He also shared a bit of the restaurant's backstory, noting that at one point they faced some health violations. But here's the good news, everything seems to be back on track now, especially after their time on the show. It's a solid sign that the changes Ramsey helped implement are really making a difference. Another Yelp review praised the diner, calling it a fantastic experience. They love the food, especially the perfectly cooked omelet and seasoned home fries. They also mentioned the great music and vibes. It's not just the locals singing the praises of Bel Aire Diner anymore, people from all over the country are flocking there to see what the fuss is all about. The diner has seriously stepped up its game, and Chef Ramsey may have just secured its place in the culinary world for the next several decades. All they really needed was a little makeover and some Ramsey magic to set things right. The atmosphere is completely transformed. It's brighter, more inviting, and honestly feels like a place you'd expect to see on one of those home renovation shows. The vibe now is a far cry from its old, rundown feel. Now, let's get to the food, the true heart and soul of any diner. From the looks of the reviews, the kitchen has definitely undergone a culinary awakening. Fresh ingredients, mouth-watering flavors, and plating that's so Instagram-worthy, you'd want to snap a pic before digging in. It's like your favorite comfort food, but with a gourmet twist. But what really tugs at the heartstrings is the thought that this diner, which has been a community staple for years, might just have the longevity to keep thriving for generations to come. It's like a family heirloom that's been lovingly restored, polished, and is now shining even brighter. Thanks to Ramsey's guidance, it looks like Bel Aire is set to be a classic for years to come. Sometimes, all it really takes is a fresh perspective and some expert advice to turn things around. That said, despite sticking to Ramsey's improvements, they couldn't resist sneaking a few more items onto their menu. And by a few, I mean 190 items? Yep, old habits die hard. But interestingly, it's the locals who seem to prefer the old school massive menu and the Greek food. It's a clear mismatch with the streamlined approach Ramsey was going for, but hey, I guess you can't please everyone. And there is more than one Reddit thread to vouch for this. But there was this one viewer who had a strong point to make. And in their message to Chef Ramsey, they said, not defending Bel Aire in the least, but he doesn't seem to be too informed about what makes Greek diners so quintessential other than the cloudy lobster tank by the front door. The fact that they offer 300 items on the menu. Where else can you get a steak, Diane, a side of falafels and a hamantaschen and Irish coffee for dessert? That's the whole point, Gordy. Here's the kicker. Turns out the renovation we were all so impressed with was just a tiny fraction of the restaurant. That's right, despite all the visual appeal, only a small section of the diner got that makeover. The rest of the booth still looking pretty much the same as they were before. Kind of a letdown considering how much the show focused on the new look. But here's where it gets really interesting. The show conveniently left out the fact that the diner operates several ghost kitchens through delivery services. This strategy allows them to rake in revenue from other virtual restaurants, even while the main diner itself is still struggling. It creates this whole financial situation that wasn't fully revealed on the show, and it definitely makes you wonder what's really going on behind the scenes. It's a reminder that reality TV doesn't always tell the whole story, and viewers are left piecing things together from what's shown, and in this case, what's not shown. Despite the behind-the-scenes drama, if you're reading these reviews and feeling a little curious about trying Bel Aire Diner for yourself, you're definitely not alone. And let's be real, who doesn't love a good comeback story? Bel Aire Diner has been posting all these glowing reviews, and it's honestly heartwarming to see how much positive feedback they've been getting. At the end of the day, it's not just about the food. It's about the journey, the revival, and the promise of something great on the horizon. It's like stumbling upon a new chapter in a beloved book. One full of hope, transformation, and, of course, mouth-watering dishes. But here's something interesting. Have you heard the rumors that surfaced when the episode aired? Apparently, the owners knew Chef Ramsey was gonna visit on a specific date. So, really? Does it make sense that they'd embarrass themselves on national TV, especially in that basement? Sounds a bit off, doesn't it? That's exactly why Cal took to Instagram to clear the air. So, what does this mean? Are the owners trying to cover up some awkward truths, or is the show just fabricating things for drama? Now, here's something that sparked the curiosity of a lot of viewers. Remember how packed the diner was when Chef Ramsey arrived? If they were getting that many walk-ins, how are they still struggling financially? One Reddit user raised the same question, and the response they got was a little controversial. Apparently, the diner was closed for pre- and post-filming, and they even posted on r/Astoria, asking locals to come in at specific times. Essentially, regular locals were kept out during that week of filming. What really got me was this one sentence that summed it all up perfectly. At Bel Aire, it's a sanitation problem, not a popularity problem for them. And honestly, I couldn't agree more. So, have you ever dined at Bel Aire? Don't forget to share your experience in the comments down below. And before you leave, make sure to smack that like, subscribe, and turn on my post notifications. Also, don't forget to check out my latest video right here, it's even crazier.